Hello, welcome back. You are listening to Dime to Diamonds. I am Suzanne Porske with Phoenix Financial Group. I am joined today with
Mark Farquhar, Phoenix Financial Group.
Rachelle Harp with Rachelle Harp CPA.
Was it Harp Accounting?
Well, the name of the company is Rachelle Harp CPA, and that has to go with like legal reasons when you're a CPA firm. But my website is Harp Accounting.
Okay, because I'm getting confused today, which isn't, it's just one of those weird days. But the last podcast we did, I think you just said Harp CPA.
Yeah. So the name is actually Rachelle Harp CPA, and I used to think, why do the CPA owners not come up with a cool name and all this other stuff? Then I started reading out why they might not be doing that, and
there's a
I'm
law.
boring too.
I'm
boring too. So yeah.
We love having you. We act like you're a guest and you're not. You're part of our family here, but.
I appreciate that. I love being here.
Yes. Today we're going to talk about a blog that just went up on the website on phx.financial. It is what you need to know about the 2025 changes to inherited IRA rules. You know what's funny is I'm a person that if there's a rule, I think it's implemented right then and you follow it. And so I was very surprised to find out that they have not been enforcing this rule that they came up with however long ago, 2019, when it was signed into law. No one's been enforcing it.
Yeah, there hasn't been the penalties or anything like that on the backside of the 10-year rule. However,
they're like, hey, don't forget to pay taxes. And you're like, I can't hear you.
Yeah, they're like, it's that grace period, right? They're like, hey, this is new. Let's not just hit it hard. Let's give people some time, which I think is good. But they are going to start enforcing this 10-year rule for any inherited
Did they change
IRA.
anything, or they're just saying, okay, we're enforcing what we already put in place?
They're enforcing what they already put in place.
And so what did they put in place? That's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So unless you are an eligible designated beneficiary, which those would include spouse, children under legal age, minors, or chronically disabled individuals. If you are not one of those three, if you inherit someone's IRA, you have to empty that balance within 10 years. So that's one piece of it. The other part of it is depending on if the individual who you're inheriting it from was already receiving required minimum distributions, RMDs, which that's how we'll refer to it from point forward, then you have to follow up and continue that RMD through that 10 years, and you still have to empty the entire balance in 10 years. If the individual was not already receiving those RMDs, you don't have to take those annual required minimum distributions, but you just have to deplete it within that 10-year time frame.
So to make this more palatable, let's make it applicable here. So I am going to be 60. So if somebody that was older than me and my family, say that it was a parent in their 80s that passed away, transitioned, and was taking their required minimum distributions, which means that there's a sliding scale. I'm shocked at the people that have never heard of RMDs, but years ago, our government put into place that you had to take out they have the sliding scale they put into place. So that first year it's 27.4 is what you multiply and what your balance is. You have to take that out of your IRA because they want the taxes on it.
100%.
So if I've inherited money that the RMD is in place and I'm only 60, I don't have to start taking it to 73. I have to continue taking that payment for my life or theirs.
For your life.
Okay.
Based on her age?
For their life.
Based on their age, if they were. Okay.
Yes, based off their age and their numbers. You continue that.
And so I know the answer, but I'm sure our listeners don't. What is the age 73 to when does it run out? When do you no longer have RMDs?
I'm going to say it's 100 and something. 105.
Yes.
If you live to be 105, you no longer have to take your RMDs.
Right. So if you're
Party, yeah. No RMD. Party.
So it's actually a little bit better if they're taking their RMDs. It's still going to affect your taxes because you're getting this money, but the sliding scale goes down. It's a little bit less, which is The percentage is a little bit less, but so is the balance because that's the government wants these never before tax money.
Correct. Ultimately, this person has put in money into a vehicle to grow, and it's never been taxed. None of it has been taxed. And now the government's saying, "Hey, you can't keep that forever and never get taxed. We
keep
want you
passing
to
it down."
eventually give us some of the
Right.
taxes," and that is what this RMD program is to correct.
Right. So I'm 60. They were 72, which would make sense. But so I don't know. And I inherit the money. They've never started the RMD. So now I'm 60 and have 10 years to empty that out.
That is correct.
So I need to get strategic with a tax strategist to say when and how is the best way for me to receive this before I start taking Social Security.
Correct.
And I have Medicare, and all that income is going to be counted against me, and it's going to raise the cost of my Medicare in Social Security.
And that's whether you inherit $1 million or $100,000 too, right? It's 10
Correct.
years no matter
10
how much
years,
the
it
amount
doesn't-
is,
The
right?
balance of the account, it's 10 years.
Right.
Which has a lot of impacts on all the different ages that might be inheriting it, right? So if you have a younger family that's inheriting this, it could put them over AGI thresholds where they don't get FAFSA, different financial aid programs for their kids who are going.
Exactly. These are the things that people don't understand. That's why we tell our clients, we're going to meet with you and do your annual reviews. And with our clients, I feel like we're in touch with them more than just annually. But anytime something happens like that, if you've just inherited money, you can't just say, oh, I just inherited this from an aunt or uncle or whatever.
Right.
We need to know qualified, non-qualified, was RMDs being taken, and then again, FAFSAs. Because I think of you, Mark, and your family that's transitioned, you get a large sum of money, but you're trying to have your kids qualify maybe for a grant or some of that tuition, and now that's been thrown into the mix.
Right. I think it's also important for the owners of the IRAs to do some planning and for those kids or the beneficiaries that they're going to be getting it. And then you can start planning now rather than going, oh my gosh, we have this huge problem now when it could.
Yes, I'm going to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole here. This is where estate planning is crucial. If your beneficiary on your IRAs is a trust, that at least it gives you time for everything to be adjusted till the executor makes and liquefies that and sends it off to the beneficiaries. There's that, I feel like, and I could be wrong, you guys step in here, but at least it's a bumper there. It's not like, nope, it's the beneficiary is Mark, and Mark has to get this money out. The company is now dispersing. If it's into a trust, then the executor then has that put into that account and then can divvy it up. So estate planning is so important.
Yeah, and there's the one caveat, right? So individuals who have a family member who might be on medical monies from the states, and if they were to inherit a large amount of money, they
get kicked off the program.
All that, yes. And so that's your point of planning through
big
from
time.
your side of it, making sure that you don't cause a problem.
So when you say they weren't enforcing this rule, you have to get caught up, or do they just start?
You do have to get caught up, right? So people need to go in. There were no penalties being charged when people were not taking the RMDs, right? So there's supposed to be a 25% penalty of the balance that you should have took that you're going to pay to the government just to pay to them. And they weren't enforcing that part of it. They were forgiving the penalty.
So I'm thinking back to our client, I don't want to say her name, but her husband passed away and never took his RMD. And then she came to you. We had her meet with you the next year, and we wrote a letter to the IRS and explained it. So did she have to do that? Were they enforcing it then or not?
Have to is always a relative term, right? So it's one of those, anytime you get information from the IRS or you need to give them information, it's better to be proactive than reactive. And so when you're doing these types of things, you're showing that you are doing your best to comply with their rules and their laws, and you weren't aware, which gives you the benefit of the doubt from their perspective, and you are going to get more forgiveness and different things. Interest is never going to be forgiven by the IRS. That's just law and it has to be done. But penalties is at the discretion of an IRS agent. Therefore, sometimes when you're showing that you are being diligent and you were the one that brought it to their attention, there's some stuff. Yeah, there's some options there. And so.
So when a spouse inherits an IRA that was in the RMDs, they're not, do these rules apply?
So the spouse have the stretchability, right? So they're in that eligible designated beneficiary.
Right.
So they have the ability to stretch it over a longer period of time because of their relationship to the individual.
Okay. And what's the stretch? What is
It falls back to your whatever that individual.
okay.
When she would need to start taking RMDs. It would be based off hers.
So if you had a husband that passed away and he was 74 taking RMDs and the wife's 69 or 70, it would go back to her and she wouldn't have to take them until she turned 73. Okay. All right.
We're so smart.
stuff.
We have such great information. And the blog that's on phx.financial, it goes far into depth. I mean, it's quite lengthy, and I put all kinds of good information on there. As far as when the original owner passed away and the requirements and the beginning dates, again, it is all in there, all in the blog, and just how to better understand it. I also wanted to talk to you about we discovered this, I think, maybe it's been a couple of years now, but if you have to have your RMDs, like now the spouse is getting it, it's going to really mess with his or her Medicare IRMA. She can take that RMD straight from the carrier and send it straight to a 501c3, which is your churches, which is your museums, which is anything that is nonprofit. Mm-hmm. So it is not showing up as a taxable event and therefore not making her AGI.
Correct.
More?
Correct. Yeah, so you're talking qualified charitable distributions, so QCDs. And like you said, you just talk to your financial agent, whoever that might be, and you let them know that you're wanting to use your RMD to donate to, whether that's tithing, whether that's a museum, a sports clubs, any of those types of things that are charitable organizations. The check will go straight from the institution. The individual will never see it, and it'll go straight to them. And then that RMD portion will not show up as taxable income. It'll show up over here in my nice little bucket on this side, but then when you go across, you'll see that part is not taxed.
Yes. So we've had clients that were saying, okay, let's look at your tax returns. It looks like this is your amount you're tithing every year that you're putting in the plate. So what you're doing is causing a taxable event. You're getting your RMD. It's putting in your account. It's hitting that 1099 you're going to get that shows it. Then you're having to go and report from that you donated it to your church. Let's look at that total dollar amount and let's just move it all at one time. And so it's done and taken care of, and there's no tax event created. Right. Also, we've seen that with kids, grandparents that want to do that for the grandkids. If they're, in sports, they belong somehow subscribed to a nonprofit. Right. Then they're able to.
Usually the sports associations are nonprofit. So they're always looking for donations of equipment or money for scholarships or anything like that. So that's another area.
And it doesn't have to be the full RMD amount.
Correct. It can be any amount that they want to.
Right, because we've had people.
We had one last week that did three different
organizations.
Organizations. So,
you can do as many organizations as you want, any dollar amounts.
Right.
You just can't go over your RMD
right.
amount. It would have to be the portion that's RMD.
Right.
But
and your tax, your tax person, CPA, or your, like with us, we know it's on our computer system. We know how much it is. So if you go, okay, you have to take this $3,000 this year. How do you want to divvy that up? Where are you normally? Are you sending $100 to the football league and $100 to the cheerleading squad and then $2,000 to church? Let's divvy it up for you and have it go straight to those 501c3s.
If you're giving on an annual basis to some charitable organization, get with us and we can help you plan that out for you for the year.
And I know for us, we're very involved in our community in Broken Arrow. If you want to know where you can be a big blessing, we can hook you up. We are very involved in the nonprofits.
Yeah. And just tell us what your passion is, because we have organizations that serve all different communities, different age ranges, everything. So, it'll still be what you want, but we can help. Put you
I think of the senior center and our people there, the seniors that are there that want to donate but maybe can't, or we're able to at least talk to them about that. So
animal shelters, I mean, there's all different kinds.
Yep.
of places
Yep.
you can help.
Whatever your
So, yeah.
passion is.
Right. If it needs to be 20 different places, I really don't want to have to do that for you, but I will.
Well, the one
Mark can help us.
with the feeding the children, the one here locally.
Oh,
is
yeah.
another
Broken
big
Arrow
one.
Neighbors.
It's
Yes.
interesting what you were saying about that. It's there's just a lot of stuff out there that you don't know about that.
We have Helping Hands. We have a phenomenal school and program here to help families that have children that can't hear or the adults.
Right.
And it's a win-win. And that's the other piece that really want to drive home is these are monies that you're going to be donating to this organization anyways.
Yeah.
You might as well get the tax benefit from it. And the organization is receiving all the funds. So it's really a win-win for the whole community in this instance.
Right.
Sure is.
And it's legal. So let's take advantage of our legal opportunity.
There we go.
Right.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much, you guys, for today. Again, this is another really good podcast. We're doing bite size, 15 minutes at a time. So I want to thank our audience for listening to us. Remember to go to phx.financial in the blogs. And this was today what you need to know about the 2025 changes to inherited IRAs. So you've been listening to Dime to Diamonds, Suzanne Porske, Phoenix Financial Group.
Mark Farquhar with Phoenix Financial Group.
Rachelle Harp CPA.
Harp Accounting.
If you want to find me, it's www.harpaccounting.com.
There you go.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. And we'll talk to you next time. Have a great day.